Hey guys, welcome back to another action figure review. Back with some more Cosmic Legions by Four Horsemen Studios, we have the Sphexxian Guard up for review today. The standard size figure comes in a new cardboard box format with a large window to see the character inside and accessories. On the back we have a checklist of all the figures in Series 1, the Cosmic Legions logo, and some credits at the bottom. One side of the box has the lore of the character with the name in the Cosmic Legion language, as well as a small photo and the affiliation the character is tied to as a white icon by the picture. The other side has the lore of Book 1 of the Cosmic Legions, focusing on the prison of Hvalkatar. The plastic tray inside the cardboard box can be easily removed without having to cut open the packaging. On the back of this figure we have another tray with the large wing accessories and a few smaller pieces. And lastly, the weapons come in its own tray, taped to the sides of the plastic tray holding the figure. Cosmic Legions is a new series from the creators of Mythic Legions, Four Horsemen Studios. Set in the future, each wave of figures is considered its own book, focusing on different factions and planets, with Book 1 featuring the prison world Hvalkatar. The Sphexxian Prison Guard's homeworld has been depleted of resources, leaving the Sphexxian planet in ruins, causing many of the Sphexxian race to scatter across the galaxy, looking to preserve their race and culture elsewhere. In search of supplies and food for their homeworld, many Sphexxians have been sent out to find and bring back more resources to their starved planet, while others, like the Sphexxian Guard, have found employment as a way of earning wealth to be shared back with the home planet. With the survival of the Sphexxian home planet as their main motivator, Sphexxian Prison Guards of Hvalkatar are brutally efficient and an organized force overseered by the Sphexxian block commanders that are rumored to be able to command telepathically to the guards. Let's check out some of the details. For the details, we will check out the figure as it's displayed in the package without the accessories equipped. The first thing we notice is the amazing pearlescent shine of the blue eyes, forehead, and tubing of the mouth. The armored helmet is painted in a shiny teal color, with small specks of reflective paint giving a shimmering effect when reflecting light. The head is similar to an insect's head, completely upgraded with plates of armor, ports, and panels sculpted all over. On the side we can see the long oval-shaped head, with the large armor covering up most of the neck and back of the figure. Underneath the helmet we have a small gap between the armor where we can see the carapace of the figure in a dark brown color. The armor covering the back and shoulder are painted in the same blue and teal colors of the helmet, with more large panels of armor and large silver details. On the back we have a large spine exposed between the large neck and shoulder armor. Large brown spikes layer over each other from the back of the head to the waist of the body, with the tips getting darker in color. Surrounding the spikes, large silver canisters are plugged into the back of the large layers of plates stacked over each other. The body slims down at the chest with some impressive detailing in the sculpting. Lots of circular panels of armor meet at the center of the chest, with two small claw-like arms come out of the armor from a small port. Just like the spikes on the back, the brown arms have small spikes on them with the tips in a darker brown. We have a better look at the claws from the side, as well as the small ports on top of the waist that will be covered with additional arms later in the review. Wrapping around to the back, we can see the ending of the spine as well as two ports in the back where we will be covering up with wings later in the review. More of that bright blue pearlescent paint was used on the panels of the shoulders, with more unique shapes and curved armor detailing the sculpting. Large teal gauntlets cover up the forearm entirely, in a circular pattern layered over each other. A large socket can be seen here where we will attach a weapon to later in the review. The three-fingered claws are very large and the default hands are posed in an open palm position, matching the same brown paint on the hands as the chest and spikes on the back. At the waist we have a utility belt with a large dark purple buckle at the center, a circular winged insect as the logo. Matching the teal color as the rest of the armor, we can really see that glittery effect here, reflecting different colors depending on the lighting. Attached to the belt are small accessories like small pipes and other gadgets. Looking at the side, we can see a few space-age style pouches with large screws and other small pipes attached to them. On the back, we have more futuristic pouches wrapping around here as well, with two of them having large ports, the same size as the wrist ports, that we can attach accessories to later on in the review. Underneath the belt, a large abdomen spills out of the armor, matching the same brown color as the rest of the carapace. The large spike and smaller bumps are painted into that darker brown effect, with the B-shaped abdomen ending in a large brown spike. More of that pearlescent blue panels are attached to the thighs with a glittery teal armor underneath. A few ports, panels, and vents are sculpted into the thigh, with the knees in the black undersuit ridged effect. The chicken-style legs bend backwards, detailed with a unique shape of armor bits, a small spike at the back of the joint, with more screw ports and articulation points that are cosmetic only. We wrap up the details of the figure with the robotic feet. 2 large toes space out the feet with many robotic details here. Circular joints, screws, and panels that, like the leg, are cosmetic only without any actual articulation. Let's get to the articulation of the figure. Like Mythic Legions, we have a ball-jointed neck but with minimal articulation. Removing the head reveals the neck piece underneath that does not offer any additional rotation like the Mythic Legions did. The shoulders can rotate, but the large neck armor will restrict a full rotation. It will even get in the way of opening the shoulders fully. Getting creative with the joints will give you a bit more range, but even something as simple as bending the arm back will be restricted by the armor. We have elbows that bend inward, but again the large armor gives it only a minor amount of range. The elbows rotate, as well as the forearms, cleverly hidden under the armor. We have wrists that rotate and bend side to side or up and down depending on the hand installed. Like Mythic Legions, we have a ball joint at the center, but it's so tight that we can only get rotation out of this sculpt. The abdomen attached at the back is on a ball joint with minimal rotation and lifting, and somewhat blocked by the belt here. The legs work just like Mythic Legions do, being able to be opened and bent forward with the abdomen restricting the backwards motion. The thighs, like the forearm, have rotation hidden by the sculpt. We have knees that bend backwards as much as the sculpting will allow, with rotation at the knee as well. And we have feet that can twist, bend up and down, and rotate side to side. While the articulation is a bit restricted, we do know that there is a standard body underneath all of this armor. Being able to remove the head and the neck accessory gives us access to the neck and shoulder armor. It's tightly plugged into where the wing adapter section we would see on normal figures, and actually reveals that we do have shoulder armor sockets here. We can even remove the abdomen accessory. Afterwards, we have the standard basic body with the range of articulation that we're used to. It's just that the bulky armor and body parts really restricts this figure. The Sphexxian Guard stands pretty tall on its own, standing just a bit over 7 inches tall. Standing near Slog, we can see that he still has a large presence even in this new scale of figure. Next to a standard Mythic Legions body, we can see just how much more bulky the guard is, with the large head sculpt making the figure just a bit more taller, and makes the goblin scale look tiny in comparison. Although next to much larger figures with the bigger head sculpt, Mythic Legions have had their own large size figures before. Next to some standard 6-inch size Hasbro figures, we can start to see just how large the guard truly is, standing at about 1.5 inches taller than a 6-inch figure. Next to McFarlane's scale, we already know that McFarlane loves its larger 7-inch size, with the 4 Horsemen being able to reach a similar size with its unique Cosmic Legion sculpting. So if you're looking to figure out what sort of scale we're working with in the Cosmic Legions, it looks like McFarlane's 7-inch scale is a good match into what to expect size-wise. We have a pair of shiny head mandibles, painted in that matching brown and dark brown color, each labeled with the right or left for installation. To install the jaws, you match the peg with the right socket and easily peg it into the head where it will fit tightly and stay on by itself. We have a pair of brown bug antennae, like the jaws labeled left and right on the peg. And just like the jaws, it sockets into the head, holding itself into place. Besides the tiny arms already installed on the chest, we have an additional pair matching in color. The arms do have articulation, rotating and bending, and rotating at the claw. The arms were very hard to get onto the body, as the joint was extremely tight and had to be heated up to install. After plugging them in, we can get the same rotation and bending we would expect out of a regular full-sized arm. And with those parts installed, we have the base figure complete, making him look even more like an insect than before. We have an amazing pair of wings, sculpted in large sections of clear plastic, detailed with small bumps and ridges, fading colors, and small spikes towards the joint. Just like the miniature arms on the chest, the socket is extremely small and tight, requiring you to warm up the socket with hot water. After plugging in the wings, the tight fit keeps the wings in position. It's not too top heavy, but does give the figure a large profile. We have quite a few pair of hands, these hands having the grip to hold the gun and bend left and right. We have the same pair of hands able to hold a gun, with the only difference being the joint, bending up and down. A hand to hold the staff, that bends left and right. And the same staff with the joint allowing you to bend up and down. To install the hands, it's just like you would on Mythic Legions, easy to pop out of the wrist and plug in the new pair into the socket with minimal force needed. We get a Sphexxian blaster in a bone color, with the only details being a few small red orbs. Here we can see the shooting hands equipped onto it. We have a large electro staff in a copper color, with the blades being a bright silver. And we have the staff hands equipped onto it. We have a small pair of wrist blasters, detailed with two small cannons and a large peg at the bottom. We can install them on the large sockets seen on the arms of the figure. They stay tightly in on their own. And in case you wanted to use up the pegs, you can also fit them on the pegs on the back of the belt. And we have clear pegs in the same size as the rest of the armor pegs. You would normally holster weapons onto the belt with these, or other floating effects the character may have. The Sphexxian Guard is an amazing release from the Four Horsemen studios that really shows what the Cosmic Legion series is capable of. With completely new parts, an amazing paint job, and a ton of accessories, the fact that this is built on the standard joints and bodies that were used for Mythic Legions just goes to show how far Four Horsemen studios have come in toy design. The unique pearlescent style of paint that reflects light looks amazing on this figure, and was used multiple times all over the armor, really making this figure pop. Even the base armor had glittery paint effects that looked great in lighting. The wings were finely detailed as well, with the clear plastic having small ridges and bumps as a texture that catches even more lighting, giving back a reflective sparkle. There was just so much different styles of paints, textures, and details in the sculpt that really makes this figure feel like a premium high quality figure. And honestly, for the price that I paid, I'm looking at some other brands in the similar price range that should be reconsidering how they make figures. We get a great amount of accessories as well, a little bit of everything. It came with a ton of claw hands, a small wrist-mounted guns to experiment with placements, and some new alien weaponry. I'm going to assume that all the small clear pegs would have a greater use for other figures, but it's nice that they included them anyways, even if the figure won't be using them. Normally with Mythic Legions, it's fair to expect another head swap, like a bare head for this insect, but the Sphexxian Guard's case, that was reserved for the commander. That would have been my only complaint, but with the amount of accessories we're getting already, it's easy to pass on. Surprisingly, the balance on this figure is great. I would have assumed with the chicken legs, an abdomen in the back, large wings, and the neck armor would have completely thrown this figure off balance. But he's been able to stand up on its own completely fine, although the knees do worry me, as my eagless figure with the same style of knees tends to fall over these days. Overall, the Sphexxian Prison Guard is an amazing figure. It can be put in almost any collection. The sci-fi looks fits in very well with other figures, as well as filling in that rare monster role that we hardly get in the action figure world. It's some of Four Horsemen's best work and easily one of my favorite figures of the year. As my second look into Cosmic Legions, I'm now really impressed by the series, and honestly looking forward to what else we're getting from this series. Unlike the fantasy theme of Mythic Legions, sci-fi themed figures are pretty common in the toy world, so Cosmic Legions didn't have that same attractiveness that I got from fantasy themes of Mythic Legions. But I've been convinced otherwise by Four Horsemen's excellent work on the Cosmic Legions so far that you can really feel this is a step up in quality. If you're looking for that first step into Cosmic Legions, the Sphexxian Guard is an amazing introduction into the series, that even if this is the only figure you'll get, it will stand out as an excellent figure in anyone's collection. Alright guys, that's it for this review. Leave a comment letting me know how you like this figure, subscribe, or share this video with your friends to help out the channel.